The shared kiss left something hanging in the air, but that didn't stop the intense training from going on, as Minjay didn't want to take any chances. The sharp smell of gunpowder still hung in the air. It was strong and bitter, mixing strangely with the clean scent of the training room. Kiara's hands were steadier now. They still shook sometimes, especially when she thought too much about the past. But they were stronger. The heavy pistol didn't feel so strange anymore. Her fingers, once unsure and clumsy, now held it with more control. Her breathing, once fast and shaky, was now slow and calm. She had spent many hours training, learning, and changing. She stood alone in the middle of the large, quiet room. Her feet were firm on the ground. Her shoulders were straight, not because she wanted to look tough, but because she felt stronger inside. Across the room, the target stood. It was just a black paper shape on a gray wall. To most people, it meant nothing. But to Kiara, it meant everything. It reminded her of her past, the fear, the weakness, the girl she used to be before she met him. Every bullet she fired was her way of saying, "I'm not that girl anymore." She focused. Her world shrank to just the gun and the target. Her finger moved slowly, pressing the trigger. Bang! The sound was loud and sharp. It echoed through the room and shook her bones. The bullet hit the target just below the shoulder. Not perfect, but close. Close enough to hurt someone. Much better than her first few tries. Minjay stood behind her. He didn't speak. His arms were crossed, like always. He believed people learned best by doing, not by talking. But Kiara could feel his eyes on her. Watching. Studying. She turned a little and looked at him. His face was calm, hard to read. But she was learning to notice the small things, the way his eyes narrowed, the way his head tilted. Maybe he was proud. Maybe he was just thinking. After a long moment, he spoke. His voice was low and smooth. "You're improving." Kiara nodded. Her chest moved up and down as she caught her breath. She wiped sweat from her forehead. "Still slow," she said. She wanted to be perfect. She knew he expected a lot. "You're faster than last week," he said. He didn't give praise easily. When he did, it meant something. She looked down at the gun in her hand. It didn't scare her like before. It felt like part of her now. "I never thought I'd be doing this," she said quietly. Minjay walked toward her. His steps were smooth and careful. He reached out and took the gun from her. Their fingers touched for a second. Even that small touch made her heart jump. She hated how aware she was of him, his smell, his voice, his presence. Everything about him pulled her in. "You didn't choose this," he said. His voice was soft but firm. "But now it's yours." She looked up at him. She wanted to understand him. "Is that how it was for you?" He didn't answer. He turned away, his back straight, his shoulders tight. He walked to the wall and placed the gun in its case. Kiara watched him. Her stomach felt tight. She had questions, so many questions. What had made him this way? What pain had shaped him? He was cold, quiet, and strong. But she knew there was more. Flashback, Minjay's memory. It had rained hard that night. Minjay stood in a dark alley. His suit was soaked. His hands shook. She was lying on the ground. The woman he had tried to protect. Her skin was pale. Her hair was wet and messy. Her eyes were wide with fear. Blood spread around her, dark and thick. He had been too late. The rival gang had found her first. They used her to hurt him. Then they left her there, broken and bleeding. He held her as she died. She whispered something, but he couldn't hear it. The rain was too loud. His heart was too broken. He couldn't remember her last words. But he remembered her eyes, full of pain, betrayal, and fading life. That night changed him. He made a promise. Never again. He would never be weak. He would never be too late. He would protect what mattered, no matter the cost. Back in the present, the memory still hurt Minjay. It made his stomach twist and his jaw tighten. He turned and looked at Kiara. She was stretching her arms slowly after the hard workout. Her movements showed how much effort she had put in. She was not like the woman he had lost. Everything about her was different, her hair, her voice, her laugh. But the fear was the same. The feeling of being vulnerable was the same. The danger around them hadn't changed. People still wanted to hurt him. And he couldn't let the past happen again. Not with Kiara. "Training's over," he said. His voice was firm, but there was a small hint of something softer underneath. Kiara looked up, surprised. "Already?" she asked. She sounded a little disappointed. She had been working hard, trying to learn, trying to become someone stronger. Minjay nodded. It was a short, clear gesture. "You need rest." He knew when to push her and when to stop. Her body needed time to heal. Her mind needed time to understand the violence she was learning. She didn't argue. She was learning to trust him. She was learning to follow his lead, even though it was hard for someone who used to be so independent. As she walked past him toward the door, she stopped. Her voice was soft. "You're not just teaching me to fight, are you?" It wasn't really a question. It was something she felt deep inside. He looked at her. Their eyes met. "No," he said quietly. She didn't ask what else he was teaching her. She didn't need to. She saw it in his eyes. She felt it in the way he stood near her. He was teaching her how to survive, how to be strong, how to live in his world, a world where weakness could kill you and trust was rare and dangerous. As she left the training room, the smell of gunpowder still on her clothes, she knew her journey was just beginning. The strength in her hands was only the start. The world was waiting. And now she was ready. The penthouse was big and beautiful, a sign of Minjay's wealth. But that evening it felt empty. Too quiet. The large rooms, usually filled with soft voices and movement, now felt silent. The silence was heavy. Kiara sat alone at the long dining table. Her fingers, still sore from training, carefully peeled a tangerine. The sweet smell filled the air, fresh, sharp, and familiar. It reminded her of home, of peace, of a time before guns and fear. She had started craving tangerines lately. Maybe because they were simple. Maybe because they helped her feel normal again. Minjay stood across the room. He was far away, speaking quickly in Korean to one of his men. His voice sounded tense. Kiara didn't understand the words, but she could feel something was wrong. She watched the guard, tall and thin, with a scar on his cheek. He nodded and left the room quickly. Minjay watched him go. Only when the door closed did he turn and look at Kiara. "Eat," he said. His voice broke the silence. Kiara raised an eyebrow. She was learning how he acted when something was bothering him. "You always say that when you're hiding something," she said. Her voice was calm, but her stomach felt tight. Minjay didn't smile. His face stayed blank. "I'm not hiding," he said quietly. "I'm watching." Kiara ate a piece of tangerine. The juice was sweet and sour. "Watching what?" she asked. She didn't want to let it go. Her training had taught her to ask questions, to look deeper. He didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the glass wall. He stood with his hands behind his back. Outside, the city was full of lights and movement. But inside the penthouse, everything felt still. Minjay looked out deep in thought. He lived between two worlds, the dangerous world of crime and the quiet world he tried to protect inside these walls. Later that night, the penthouse was even quieter. Minjay sat alone in his study. The room was dark, lit only by the glow of security screens. He watched the footage, cameras in the hallways, rooftop, and garage. To most people, everything looked normal. But Minjay saw something wrong. He rewound the video. He zoomed in, looking closely. Then he saw it, a moment that lasted too long. A look between two men. A phone held low, being used secretly. He focused on the man with the scar. Minjay's jaw tightened. He felt anger rising. He switched to audio. Korean voices filled the room. Then he heard it, Kiara's name. Whispered quietly. That was enough. He stood up fast. His chair made a loud noise on the floor. His calm was gone. In her room, Kiara was brushing her hair. Her curls fell over her shoulders. Her arms still hurt sometimes, but she was healing. She felt stronger now. She moved with more confidence. Then came a knock. She opened the door. Minjay stood there. His face was hard. He looked angry, more than she had ever seen. "Don't leave this room," he said. His voice was sharp and serious. Kiara frowned. "Why?" she asked. She felt a chill. "There's a leak," he said. His eyes were dark and full of fire. Her stomach dropped. "Someone here?" she asked. He nodded. "One of my men. He gave your location to the rival syndicate." Kiara stepped back into her room. Her heart was pounding fast, like a drum in her chest. "Why would they want me?" she asked. Her voice was shaky. She needed to understand why things had suddenly become so dangerous. She was just Kiara, a woman caught in a world she didn't choose. Minjay's eyes, usually calm and guarded, turned darker. She saw pain and anger in them. His next words were heavy and serious. "Because they know what you mean to me." Kiara stared at him. His words hit her hard. She wasn't just someone he had saved. She was now a risk. A weapon. A piece in a dangerous game she didn't fully understand. His feelings for her had made her a target. The guard with the scar walked through the garage. He looked calm, but he wasn't. He held his phone low and spoke quietly in Korean. His voice was fast and nervous. She's here. Still alive. The boss is training her. She's close to him. His words were a betrayal. Minjay had trusted him. A voice replied on the phone. Cold and sharp. Good. We'll take her soon. Make him bleed. The guard nodded slightly and put the phone away. His face looked calm, but his hands were shaking. He knew what he had done. He knew it was dangerous. Minjay stood in the hallway, watching the security screens. The betrayal made him feel sick. He had trusted that guard for years. He had saved his life once. But now that trust was broken. Minjay turned to Jae-hoon, his second in command. Jae-hoon had always been loyal. Remove him, Minjay said. His voice was cold and quiet. Do it quietly. Jae-hoon nodded. Tonight, Minjay didn't hesitate. Now, there was no time to wait. The betrayal had to be stopped quickly. Kiara sat on her bed, hugging her knees. She felt small and scared. The news about the leak had shaken her deeply. She had come a long way. She had learned to fight, to shoot, to survive. But now the danger was inside the mansion. She thought about Minjay, how he looked at her, how he stayed close, always watching. He was protective, but also intense. She understood now. She wasn't just someone he had saved. She was his weakness. But also she was a weapon. Someone wanted to use her to hurt him. The thought made her stomach twist. Her journey had just become even more dangerous. She knew the fight wasn't over. Not yet. The morning after Minjay told Kiara about the traitor felt strange. Too quiet. It wasn't normal silence. It felt heavy, like something bad was about to happen. Kiara was in the mansion's private courtyard. The morning air was cold against her skin. Her hands were wrapped in tape. They felt strong. Her breath came out in soft clouds as she trained. She had been working harder than ever. Every punch was stronger. Her footwork was faster. She was chasing the strength she knew she needed. Minjay had pushed her. She had pushed back. She found a strength inside herself she didn't know was there. Today was supposed to be a small win. A test. She would go on a short supply run to a safe place in the city. Just her and 2 guards Minjay trusted. It was a chance to leave the mansion for a little while. To feel the city again. When she asked Minjay, he had paused. He looked unsure. He studied her carefully. You're ready, he finally said. His voice was low. He sounded serious. But stay alert. Every second. Kiara gave him a small smile. She felt confident. I always do, she said. And it was true. She had learned to stay alert all the time. The black SUV moved quietly through the busy streets of Seoul. Kiara sat in the back, watching the city go by. Her hoodie was pulled low. Her curls were tucked inside. She wanted to stay hidden. The 2 guards in front were quiet. Their eyes were on the road. Their hands rested near their weapons. She didn't see the 3rd car behind them. It was a plain sedan. It had been following them for blocks. She didn't notice the signal between the drivers, a flash of headlights, a small nod. But she felt something was wrong. The air felt different. Her neck tingled. The city noise seemed to fade. Her fingers reached for the pistol in her bag. Her thumb touched the cold metal. Just in case. They turned off the main road into a narrow alley. It was dirty and empty. Kiara snapped out of her thoughts. Shortcut, the driver said. His voice sounded fake. Kiara frowned. She felt more uneasy. This doesn't feel right, she said. Her voice was sharp. Minjay's drivers never took shortcuts. Not through places like this. The guard beside the driver turned to her. His face was blank. Just a few minutes, he said. But Kiara didn't believe him. Then everything happened fast. The back door flew open. Hands grabbed her, pulling her out of the SUV. There were too many attackers. She fought back. Her elbow hit someone. Her heel kicked another. She screamed, loud and angry. But there were too many. A cloth was pressed over her nose and mouth. It smelled sweet and chemical. She felt dizzy. Her arms got heavy. Her vision blurred. The world tilted. Colors faded. Then everything went dark. 10 minutes later, Minjay got the call. He was in his study, checking security footage from the night before. His phone buzzed. He answered. His voice was short and serious. She's gone, said the voice on the other end. It was shaking. Minjay froze. He didn't speak. He didn't breathe. She was taken. The guards, they helped. Minjay's hand tightened around the phone. His knuckles turned white. He felt rage building inside him. He ended the call. Then he roared, loud and angry. He slammed his fist into the desk. Wood cracked. Papers flew. He didn't stop. He knocked everything off the desk. His calm was gone. Now he was full of fury. It was raining again. It always seemed to rain. The memory hit Minjay hard. It felt sharp and painful. It mixed with the fear of the present and brought back the ghosts of his past. She had been taken the same way. Fast and violent. He had searched for her for days. He had looked everywhere, desperate and afraid. He found her. But he was too late. Her body was left in an old, empty warehouse. The place was dark and broken. Her eyes were open, but lifeless. Her lips were slightly parted, like she had tried to say something before dying. He held her in his arms. Her skin was cold. Her body had no life. He screamed. It was a deep, painful sound. It came from the bottom of his soul. After that, he was filled with grief and rage. He hunted down every man who had hurt her. He killed them all. Each death was part of his pain. Each one was revenge. He became known for his cold, brutal justice. And he made a promise that day. He would never feel helpless again. Now, in the present, that memory made Minjay even more angry. He stood in the training room. His study was broken and left behind. His usual calm was gone. Now he was full of rage and focus. His men stood around him. They were loyal and serious. They waited for his orders. They knew Kiara's disappearance was serious. "She's alive," Minjay said. His voice was low and strong. He had received another call. The voice was strange and threatening. "But they want me to come." "Alone?" asked Dong-hoon, one of his trusted men. He sounded worried. Minjay nodded. "They want to trade her for me. They were using her, just like they had used the woman from his past." Jae-hoon, his second-in-command, stepped forward. "It's a trap, boss." "I know," Minjay said. His voice was cold and empty. He knew it was a trap, but he didn't care. He looked at the pistol in his hand. It felt familiar. Then he looked at the door. "I'm going anyway," he said. The room went quiet. No one argued. They all knew. Kiara was his weakness. But she was also his reason to fight. He would face anything to get her back. Meanwhile, Kiara woke up slowly. Her head hurt. Her mouth tasted strange, sweet and chemical. Her wrists were tied with rough rope. Her shoulder ached badly. She was in a dark place. The air was cold and wet. It smelled like old water and machines. She listened. The sounds were quiet and strange. She realized she was in a warehouse. Men walked around her. Their footsteps echoed. They spoke in Korean. She heard her name. She heard Minjay's name. Their voices were angry and rough. They were talking about her. About what they planned to do. She closed her eyes. Fear rose inside her. But then she remembered his voice. Minjay's voice. "Fight until you can't breathe. Fight until you can't stand." His words gave her strength. He had trained her for this. He had made her strong. She opened her eyes. The darkness was still there. But now she felt something else, courage. She was still afraid. But she wasn't frozen anymore. She looked around. Her mind started working. She began to plan. Minjay had taught her to survive. Now she would fight. The air in the warehouse was thick and dirty. It smelled like rust and old oil. The place felt forgotten and broken. Kiara lay on the cold concrete floor. The ropes around her wrists were tight and rough. They cut into her skin, leaving painful marks. Her head hurt badly. Her shoulder burned. The chloroform had left her dizzy and weak. But even with all the pain, her mind was clear. She was scared, but the fear didn't freeze her anymore. It made her sharper. It helped her focus. She had counted the guards. 4 were inside. Their movements were slow and easy to predict. She heard faint sounds outside, probably 2 more guards at the exits. She had studied them. Their steps, their habits, their weapons. Most had pistols. She noticed their weak spots, when they weren't paying attention, when they relied too much on strength instead of smart thinking. Minjay had trained her well. Every hard lesson, every strict command, now helped her survive. She waited. She stayed calm. She didn't let the rush of fear take over. She waited until the closest guard, a big man who looked bored, turned his back. Then she moved. Her fingers searched the floor. They found a sharp piece of broken pipe, hidden in the dust. She pressed the rope against the metal. It hurt badly. Her skin burned. Blood came out warm and sticky. But she didn't stop. She kept cutting. She gritted her teeth. She pulled hard. Finally, the rope broke. She was free. Her wrists were bleeding, but they were hers again. Outside the warehouse, Minjay stood in the fading light. He wore all black. He looked like part of the shadows. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with anger. He came alone. No team. No plan. Just rage. Just the need to save her. He knew it was a trap. He knew they wanted to hurt him. But he didn't care. He stepped forward, leaving the alley and walking into danger. Inside, Kiara didn't wait. As soon as she was free, she jumped up. She ran at the first guard. Her moves were rough but full of power. She held the broken pipe like a weapon. She stabbed it into his thigh. He screamed and fell to the ground, holding his leg. Before he could grab his gun, Kiara grabbed it first. Her fingers wrapped around the cold metal. She knew how to use it. The second guard turned around. He looked shocked, but he was too slow. Kiara raised the gun. Her heart was racing. Her hands shook, but her aim was good. She fired. The gunshot echoed through the warehouse. It was loud and sharp. The sound bounced off the metal walls and concrete floor. It was a signal, a cry for help in the dark. Minjay heard it. The sound cut through the silence. His eyes narrowed. Then he ran, fast and focused, toward the noise. The warehouse exploded into chaos. The last two guards shouted in Korean. They were angry and surprised. Kiara, small but strong, hid behind a stack of wooden pallets. She held the pistol tightly. She peeked out and fired again. She aimed for the chest, just like Minjay had taught her. Her hands shook, but fear made her sharper. Just as the guards started to move together, Minjay burst through a side door. He was dressed in black, fast and deadly. His pistol was ready. He saw her right away, hurt, brave, alive. Relief filled him. Then came anger. Their eyes met. They understood each other without words. Then they moved. Together, they fought like one. Minjay was fast and strong. He took down two men quickly. Every move was sharp and deadly. Kiara, tired and hurt, still fought hard. She used a move he had taught her: block, twist, strike. She used everything he had taught her. She wasn't just surviving. She was fighting beside him. Then the rival boss appeared. He stepped out from the shadows. He was tall and cruel. His smile was twisted. He had planned all this. He raised his gun and aimed at Kiara. Minjay stepped forward. His voice was low and angry. "She's not yours." The man laughed. His voice was rough. "She was never yours either," he said, mocking Minjay's past. Kiara didn't wait. She didn't think twice. His words made her angry. She raised the gun. Her hands shook, but her aim was steady. She fired. The bullet hit his shoulder. He cried out. His gun fell to the floor. Minjay stepped forward. His aim was perfect. One shot. Quick and final. The rival boss fell. He was dead. The warehouse went quiet. Bodies lay still. Smoke drifted through the air. The smell of blood and gunpowder was strong. The fight was over. Kiara's chest rose and fell quickly. Her vision blurred. She lowered the gun. Her hands shook. They were covered in blood and dirt. Minjay walked to her slowly. His face was calm. His eyes checked her for wounds. He reached her. "You did it," he said. His voice was low. There was pride in it. She looked up at him. Her eyes were wide. "You taught me," she whispered. She was proof of his training. He touched her cheek gently. He wiped away the blood and dirt. For a moment, everything else faded. It was just the two of them, tired, hurt, but alive. Then the adrenaline left her body. Her legs gave out. She collapsed. Minjay caught her. He held her close. They were both tired. Both had fought hard. But in that moment, they shared something strong. They had faced death together. And now they were bonded by it. Weeks turned into months. Each day was quiet, a reminder of what had happened. The mansion, once busy and full of guards, was now calm. Minjay had fewer men walking the halls. The tension that used to fill the air was gone. Now there was peace. It felt strange at first, but Kiara slowly began to accept it. She walked through the large garden. Her bare feet touched the cool grass. The morning sun warmed her skin. It felt gentle after all the darkness she had faced. Her arm, once bruised and hurt, was healed. Her skin was smooth again. She walked with confidence. Her steps were light. She wore a loose white blouse and black pants. Her curls were free, blowing in the wind. She was no longer a victim. She had faced her fear and won. Minjay watched her from the balcony. He didn't move. His eyes followed her. He saw her strength. He remembered the scared girl he had saved. Now she was strong and brave. He had helped her grow, but she had done the work herself. He walked down the stairs. His steps were calm and controlled. He wore a black suit, neat and perfect. His face looked peaceful, not cold like before. Kiara turned to face him. She moved with grace. She looked into his eyes, steady and sure. "You're stronger," he said. His voice was low. He meant it. Kiara smiled. It was warm and real. "You taught me," she said softly. He nodded. Just a small movement. Then he paused. The moment felt heavy. "You're free now," he said. Kiara blinked. She didn't understand at first. "What do you mean?" she asked. "Your enemies are gone. No more hiding," he said. "The rival group is finished. You can leave. Go anywhere. Start a new life." His voice was calm, but there was something deeper in it. He was giving her a choice, something he never had. Kiara looked at him closely. She saw the man who had saved her, trained her, and fought for her. He had helped her find her own strength. She stepped closer. Her heart was steady. "You didn't just save me," she began. He waited. "You made me fight for myself," she finished. Minjay's eyes softened. Just a little. She reached out and held his hand. Her touch was gentle but sure. It was a bond built from struggle and respect. "I'm not leaving," she said. Her voice was clear. She wasn't staying because she had to. She was choosing to stay. On the rooftop, everything was quiet. Seoul stretched out below them, full of lights and shadows. Kiara stood beside Minjay. Their shoulders almost touched. The sky was changing. Light was breaking through the dark. She took a deep breath. The air was cool. "I came to Korea to run away," she said softly. It was the truth. She had wanted to escape her old life. "But I found something worth fighting for." She looked at the city, then at Minjay. Her words were about him, and about herself. Minjay didn't speak. He didn't need to. His silence said everything. He stood beside her, watching the sunrise. For the first time in a long time, they both felt free. Free from fear. Free from the past. Ready to face the future, together. The sun rose, painting the sky with hope. It was the start of something new. A sign of their strength, their survival, and the bond they had built in the shadows.